You good, Stacey? Thanks. Okay, welcome everybody to the 6 p.m. City Council meeting of June 7th, 2022. And I'll just say for the record, this is the best thing that's ever happened in the Ogden City Council chambers. And it hasn't even happened yet. We'll start our meeting with a quick roll call. Let the record reflect that all council members are present with the exception of Councilmember Chaburka, who is asked to be excused.
If I might make a motion before we get too far along.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we reorganize our agenda to put item 3A right after 2B.
Okay. We have a motion to move our recognition ahead in the agenda. This is a voice vote. It's seconded by Councilmember Ritchie. This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Okay, next item is a Pledge of Allegiance. I'll defer to Vice Chair Lopez.
Everybody please rise and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lopez. If you'll all please consider joining us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our recognition, and I'll defer to Vice Chair Lopez to walk us through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. We're just extremely happy and honored to be here. It's been an amazing day, and it's been an amazing couple of months. So I want to start by recognizing and thanking a bunch of people. First of all, I want to thank you, my colleagues, and our staff for all the support. Janine, thank you. Thank you, Councilmember colleagues, for your support, your financial support to make this happen. Mayor, thank you so much. Also, these started a few months ago at a meeting at Weber State with you and President Mortensen, and me throwing the request and pitching the idea to make this happen. And you didn't hesitate 1 second. You jumped in and said, absolutely, and so did President Mortensen. So really, on behalf of our community and from myself, I want to thank you for that very much. I'd like to thank a lot of the people that are here in attendance. We have some dignitaries. Consul Borjon, he is the consul for Utah from Mexico. And welcome, Consul. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your support. Sergio Suarez from Naima, thank you for being here. And Raimundo is here also representing the government of the state of Jalisco. I'd like to thank all the people in attendance, all our friends from the Hispanic and from all other communities that showed up today to celebrate this important recognition. So important. This is I was in a trip to Mexico City and the city of Guadalajara last month, led by the governor's office, and we visited 2 cities, Mexico City and Guadalajara. And in Guadalajara, the governor was talking to all the business people and all the people that he met, and he kept referring to Guadalajara and the state of Jalisco as the cultural capital of Mexico. And he referred to Mexico City as the business capital of the country. So I really, truly believe that is the case. That is my hometown. There's a lot of faces here looking at me. I can't do this, right? So with that, before I'll read the recognition, if anybody would like to say a few words, please feel free, my colleagues or mayor, or after the recognition, probably after is when we'll do it. So I'm going to go ahead and read this recognition, and then we'll move on to some comments from our colleagues here. The Ogden City Council and Mayor proudly recognize the 2022 tour of Mexico and El Corazón. for providing an invaluable contribution to the Ogden community. México en el Corazón is an initiative of the North American Institute for Mexican Advancement, NAIMA, showcasing the talented performers of ballet folclórico from the city of Guadalajara, Mariachi Femenil Estrella de México, and La Banda Colores. As a community, Ogden has the opportunity to enjoy this incredible performance at Weber State University, which will happen tomorrow at 7 p.m. This performance of culture and tradition will bring our Mexican residents closer to their traditions and identity between Mexican immigrants, communities, and all Ogden residents. NAIMA is an organization with the mission to improve the lives of the Mexican community across North America, empowering them through educational, civic, social, economic development, and integration initiatives. We're grateful to NAIMA for supporting this event and performing in Ogden. We wish them the best of luck of the remainder of their tour and hope to see them again. We don't need a motion for this, right? No. So thank you for being here. Congratulations. And before we move on to ask you to come and receive this plaque and take some pictures, I forgot to mention another important event that happened that was also the catalyst for all of these. I told a lot of people all the time that my dream was to bring this folkloric group here to Ogden from Guadalajara. That was my dream since I've been here in Ogden 25 years ago. And a long time ago, I found out that it would cost about $100,000 if you wanted to bring just the group to perform to one place, maybe more, I don't know. So throughout the time when I would tell people, I shared that with my friend Luis right here. And he said, hey, have you heard of an organization called NAIMA? And I said, no, I haven't. He says, well, you should look into it because they bring the folkloric ballet from the city of Guadalajara on a tour of the United States. And that's how all of these started. So Luis, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give him a hand. Thank you, Luis. Thank you. Sergio, por favor. Sergio, si me permites, por favor, otra vez tomar asiento, por favor. I forgot to, got my council chair Nadolski reminded me, as part of the celebration and the recognition, we asked the mariachi band to play one song. That's going to be historic, right? And this song that they're going to play, you will see, I don't have time to explain everything, but it's a song that comes from a real story of a child that was lost in a celebration in a party, and they found him by playing music with a band, and they went and played the music, and the child heard the music and walked towards the music, and that's how they found the child. So this song is called "The Lost Child," and so the trumpets. There's a trumpet that goes out and plays, and then another trumpet plays here, and then they start coming closer together until they find each other. So if el maestro del mariachi, ¿dónde está? Si quieren, podemos abrir las puertas y se puede salir una trompeta. ¿Está bien? ¿Sí? ¿Ya salió? ¿Para dónde se fue? ¿Allá? ¿Está? Ok, listo. Adelante, gracias. Thank you. Thank you. If anybody thinks this is too loud, we do this for hours at a time when we're at our parties, so our ears are used to it. Pictures? Please come up. Sergio, please come up. Por favor, pasen todos los del mariachi y el ballet, por favor, aquí enfrente, si fueran tan amables. Aquí de este lado. De la banda, por favor, pasen todos. Sí, sí, sí.
Stands on mine. Yeah, if I need to be taller.
Is it, yeah.
I saw my brother stand next to you at this keyboard. I know. You have to tell her what it all means.
Am I gonna need?
What's that?
The recorder's going. See? We're cheating. Maybe. I just think it'd be a better picture. So if we do that, they still get this.
Yeah, okay.
What's that?
It would be more.
The symbolism of the change.
Yeah, it would be more. That's important. I'm standing up here.
Can we borrow his hat?
I don't know.
I don't know how to ask. I think the Grand Jefe ought to wear it. What you think?
We're okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man, you got a big head.
I have a big head. This doesn't fit me. This doesn't fit me.
It won't fit me.
Yeah.
You can.
Us?
Oh, they want us out?
Yeah.
Center it up, center it up.
Oh, okay. More.
I'll set her up, huh?
Right there? Yeah. Okay.
Y banda, por favor.
Ahí están bien. Se pueden poner así en así como agachaditos de cada lado.
Do we need some of the, you wanna,
Yeah.
Come up
Two
here.
rows up here?
We could if and then they won't be able to see us.
oh, I was, yeah.
You could have the guys in the suits come up here. Oh,
Yeah, that's, I was thinking there's room over there.
Sergio, come up with us, please. Sergio, come up. Consul. Por acá. Either one, either way.
There's plenty of room. Move those chairs out.
We can get close.
Design this chamber to be this big a group.
How about that, huh?
That's good. I was impressed.
Since we give them boxes to stand on to. Bartler's as tall as,
That's right.
as tall as the mayor.
Document that.
Entonces, aquí, no importa que se pongan porque vas por acá. Y acá el chico.
I took him to take pictures today all morning. This has been happening all day.
Eins, zwei, drei.
Tequila.
You got it, Brandon?
A la historia.
Uno más, un último aquí.
And you in the back, get out of the picture.
Una, dos, tres.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. You all look wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
But it's worth it.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
While everybody gets settled,
Gracias.
while everybody gets settled, if we could have, I just want to say, I would be remiss if I didn't say just a few words in Spanish. I just want to say welcome, amigos y amigas del ballet folclórico, del mariachi, de la banda, amigos de Naima, cónsul. Es un honor que estén aquí en la ciudad de Ogden, verdaderamente para mí. Gracias, muchas gracias. Gracias. Sergio, would you like to say a few words, Sergio, please?
You know how tough it is to say something with so many emotions. I just want to thank everybody who made this happen. Luis, thank you for insisting and inviting us to Ogden. Thank you. Thank everybody, because everybody's been so helpful, so welcoming, with our community, that I really, I can see, I can feel how vibrant and how respectful the people from Ogden are. And I really appreciate it. Mayor, you have a great town. I just want to thank more than 1,000 people get together in order to make this happen all over the United States. We are doing 2 tours this year. We just have left Denver and Albuquerque after this. And then at the end of August, then we go to Chicago, Nashville, Tennessee, and other cities. It's incredible the help that we get from our sponsors, that we get from governments, the host us, or people who make that happen. I cannot thank enough the city of Guadalajara, the government of Jalisco, thank you, Ray, and everybody who gets involved. All what I can end this and saying, we feel part of the community in the United States. Yes, we come from Mexico. I'm an immigrant, and I have this accent to prove it. So, but we love the United States. That's why we came. We didn't come to ask for anything. We came to work hard and to make a better future for our families. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergio. Cónsul, por favor.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes a todos. My name is José Borjón. I am the Consul of Mexico here for the state of Utah. Soy el Cónsul José Borjón, el Cónsul de México en el estado de Utah. I just want to recognize and appreciate this recognition to the organization and the ballet for what it represents. Understanding the presence of Mexicans and Mexican American in the state of Utah, which have a deep root of over 120 years, and here in Ogden. Por más de 120 años ha estado la presencia de los mexicanos y los mexicoamericanos aquí en el estado de Utah, y este evento, este reconocimiento es un acto importante para nuestra comunidad. So I appreciate that because it has a lot of history, it has a lot of value, and it shows a message of welcoming, of integration, of respect, and of work and common values, and I think that is so important nowadays. So I salute you and I appreciate it from my heart. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Consul. And finally, if Raimundo would like to share a few words, Raimundo, would you like to? Please. Raimundo is the representative of the state of Jalisco. Raimundo.
Muy buenas tardes, muchas gracias. Pues solamente agradecer el apoyo de todos ustedes.
Just want to thank everybody's support. Want to thank everybody's support and say thank you to everybody.
Gracias.
Gracias, Raimundo. Gracias.
Okay, I think it's an opportunity for other council members. If you have any remarks to share, now's the time.
Bienvenido a Ogden. Esperamos que disfruten su tiempo aquí. Y la trompeta con los pulmones, que... buen hecho, buen hecho.
Now translate for the... You got to translate for the recorder.
For the recorder?
Yeah.
Okay. What did I say?
Welcome to Ogden.
Welcome to Ogden. We hope you enjoy your time here. And the trumpet player with the lungs, very, very well done. Thank you.
It's fine. It's good that it's finally here. I think we planned this 2 years ago, before the dreaded COVID, and we were glad that we finally were able to make it, and that you were able to make it. Welcome to Ogden, and look forward to your performance tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to welcome you all, and I think this is a wonderful event. It's neat to have so many of you here tonight, and to have you here in Ogden. And I wish you all the best tomorrow during your performance. I'd love to know a little more of what they did today and what they're going to do tomorrow. How long they'll be here? If you want to share a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But again, thank you all for being here. You look wonderful. You really make our chambers look much, much better. So thank you all for being here. And
when you leave, we're all going to be very sad.
Very sad. But I appreciate the effort that it took on so many people to get you here. And I am honored that you would bring this celebration to our community. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm honored as well. Thank you for being here, and welcome to Ogden. I am one of I don't know any Spanish, so I'm not even going to attempt anything, but I can appreciate the art, and I really appreciate understanding the song, so thank you for letting us understand that before we heard it, because that really made a big difference. So thank you. Have a great time while you're here. Have a great time in the United States. It's a great place to be, so thank you.
Mayor?
Sure. As we go through what is right now the budget hearing and cycles and everything else, this brings a whole bunch of joy to the room. I want to thank you all for being here. I look forward to tomorrow night. It's going to be amazing. And enjoy, as everybody has said, the welcoming nature we have in Ogden City. You're amazing. This is it recharges all of our batteries to see this type of diversity and everything else. That's something we're very well known for. And Councilmember Lopez, thank you for bringing this and giving us an opportunity to support this and show how much this culture means in our community. We really, really are grateful that you're here, and this has been a super fun night. Sometimes council meetings aren't all that fun, but this is really, really fun. You've absolutely made my day, and I look forward to tomorrow. So thank you for all the work that you did to put this together. It was our honor to support it, and it will be our honor to support it tomorrow as well. So thank you all very much. And on that note, you don't need to stay for minutes and agendas and consent and everything else, but thank you all for being here and bringing some joy to our lives. Thank you all very much.
I was going to say something really similar to what the mayor said, but he said it a lot better than I did. This is not always the happiest, most fun place to be. There's a lot of business that happens here for the community, but today was literally the most joy I have ever felt in this chamber. Admittedly, I don't know why, but I found myself being emotional listening to the music. I don't know why, but I think it might be because of, I think it might be in recognition to the beauty that my friend Luis has brought into my life and the beauty that all of you brought into all of our lives today. We hope that we repay you in your experience here, but that was so beautiful, and I look forward to tomorrow night. It's going to be amazing. And I think I also get a little bit emotional watching my friend, Vice Chair Lopez, watching him have his dreams come true. Thank you for everything you've done to bring this here tonight, but thank you for everything that you've done for Ogden, everything that you bring to my life, to their lives, every day. This Ogden would not be the same without you. This is proof.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. And my my dreams, I think, are the community's dreams. This is, they're crying back there. Yeah. And thank you, Danny. Thank you. So to end on the note of rowdiness that we are known for, Danny, when we were outside waiting, we did a cheer for 3 cities, or 2 cities in 1 state. And as you leave, if you don't mind doing a cheer for Ogden, we would really appreciate it, so they can feel that energy that we had outside. Danny, are you okay with that? Vamos a hacer una porra para Ogden para finalizar nuestro acto. ¿Está bien? ¿Sí? Que se escuche hasta Guadalajara. ¿Está bien? Échale, Dani. Échale, Dani. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you. Déjame bajar.
What are we going to do the rest of the meeting?
Shoot up fireworks over there. It's pretty good. I know. Sorry, I just want to make that picture.
If you say we're going to start a council meeting.
No.
This is your time to go.
You know, he doesn't have any minutes, but doesn't he escort them out? Luis.
Un momento. Brandon, can you get that door? Thanks. Okay. Sorry for the brief break, but we want to give due respect to the next presenters as well. And you deserve our full attention and silence while you speak. So next item on our agenda is acknowledgements of Pride Month. We're joined tonight by Stacy Bernal, our chair of our Diversity Commission. Do we have Sharday Jones here as well?
She's not able to make
Okay.
work obligation.
Well, welcome, Stacy.
So sorry, it's just me again.
You're always more than enough.
That is quite literally the hardest act to follow. I'm like, what am I going to do or say that is going to compare to that? So thanks for that setup.
You don't have instruments?
But you know, we do have some fun celebrations. And unfortunately, two of our honorees are not here this evening, but we have a fabulous honoree who will be here. So I'm going to read my two absentees and then we'll bring Justin up. So it is Pride Month. You may have noticed that we've got some extra colorful flags around town, and June is Pride Month nationally. However, Ogden will also be celebrating in August, so be sure to stay tuned for the celebrations then. So our first honoree is Sean Bishop. He is the Global Content Developer for Workday and Community Advocate, and he is having a horrible vacation, I believe, in Costa Rica right now. So yeah, he's been posting lots of really sad pictures of lovely food and landscapes. Sean started growing up in Delta, Utah, and hasn't finished doing so just yet. He graduated from Riverton High School in 2004, AMDA Los Angeles in 2006, Weber State University in 2012, focusing on theater all the while. He earned his Master of English degree from Weber State University last month. Sean loves to write and create art of all kinds. He has always been passionate about music, drawing, painting, writing, designing, and making costumes and performing. For the past 4 years, he has worked as a global content developer for Workday in Salt Lake City. He serves as the current chair of the Marshall White Advisory Committee with Ogden City, on the board of Next Ensemble, and on the nominations committee to support the growth of the governing board at Your Community Connection. He lives in a 130-year-old Victorian on historic 25th Street with his husband Taylor, his dogs Ted and George, and cat Tina. So let's give a round of applause for Sean in his absence. And then we have another Sean W. Childers Gray. So I'm pretty sure, okay, he did not sneak in. He is the president of Ogden Pride and is a community advocate. Sean Childers Gray is a Utah native, and because visibility in a journey is important to him, so others might relate, and it is used here by express permission, he was born Jenny Cooney. Jenny grew up in Kearns, Utah in an LDS but broken home. At the age of 15, as her parents were going through a divorce and circumstances at the time made it crucial for her to find a way to survive on her own, she emancipated and lived with friends. In high school, she was active in the Young Women's program at church, excelled in academics and extracurricular activities, but was bullied for not being like other quote-unquote girls. The bullying took its toll, along with struggling with religion and the realization that she was, as identified at the time, a lesbian. She attempted suicide, thinking she was alone and would not have a place she belonged. Thankfully, she failed at it, discovered her tribe and her passion for impersonation performance. This recovery led her to find Sean the drag king, and he was reborn. Sean continued through struggles in his young adult life. He is a sexual assault and suicide survivor who discovered so much more about himself while in therapy. These moments did not define him, but helped him discover that he in fact was transgender, that his feelings of not fitting in and not being like the other girls was not unique to him. Through his charity work and self-discovery, he found authenticity. Sean has 2 decades worth of accomplishments, from founding a charity drag troupe called the Salt Lake City Kings in 2002, being involved with the Imperial Rainbow Court of Northern Utah, and being honored in October 2021 by Equality Utah for advancing transgender equality. In August of 2016, Sean began the daunting process of updating his legal name and gender on his birth certificate. This began a years-long legal battle that ultimately made its way to the Utah Supreme Court, and a victory for Sean and co-petitioner Angie Rice on May 6, 2021. Today, transgender Utahns can petition for their gender marker changes with an easier understanding and path because he persisted, and he knows that others are better off for it. He and his wife, Sarah, continue their work with Ogden Pride. He is board president of Ogden Pride, and she as a registered agent and treasurer. They are working to see that the organization opens the Ogden Pride Center as soon as it is feasible. So let's give it up for Sean Childers Gray, please. And Justin, I will invite you up here. Justin flew in. He was in Florida and flew in today to be here. So we're so grateful that you did that for us. All right, Justin Charlie is a Sam's Club associate and community advocate. Justin was born and raised in Bloomfield, New Mexico, and came to Utah at the age of 17, where he began his career at Sam's Club as an hourly associate after being hired in Farmington, New Mexico in 2011. He's worked in several positions throughout the company and has been nominated and received multiple internal awards. Justin has been in Riverdale, Utah for the last 9 years and has given back to the community by raising thousands of dollars through volunteer work and grants through Sam's Club, the local Chamber of Commerce, and events he's put together for the local community. Justin is a 10-time award-winning drag queen and keynote speaker throughout the United States. He's competed in several high-ranked pageants in the US and Mexico. He also has toured with multiple multi-platinum recording artists, including Mexican rapping sensation Miss Crazy, yes, MC Magic, and Quinto Soul. Justin is accepting this recognition on behalf of his mom, dad, and grandpa, who are no longer with us today. So we'll give it up for Justin. And I'm going to invite him to just say a few words, and then we'll do our picture.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for allowing me and Stacy the recognition for this. From the Ogden City Council and the Diversity Committee, it is a huge honor of mine. Like the great Maya Angelou said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I just want to thank all of the people before me, the hundreds of thousands of people that have paved the way for me to be able to do what I do today and stand before you all. And one thing I'd like to leave with you and everyone who's watching live, all my family and friends that are not here, is that if you are not invited and don't have a chair at the table, bring a folding chair. You're always welcome. Thank you.
Councilmembers find a window. I can't see. Okay, my turn. Okay. If I didn't get it, I'm in trouble. So, thank you. Thanks so much.
Seriously, like the best.
It's like this every Tuesday. Come back sometime.
Thank you. I'll need this. I'm taking this.
So just real quick. So my birthday was Sunday, and they had a really big parade in Salt Lake for me. And then this really cool, like, I don't know how many people, 100-person band showed up today. And then what a great recognition. So I'm having the best birthday week ever. So.
Well deserved.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Thanks for helping me out there,
Yeah.
Vice Chair.
Want to make a motion to adjourn?
Do that, but I don't think we better.
Shall we? Okay. But unfortunately, we've got the best part of the meeting, the approval of minutes. I don't know what was so funny about that. For the work session of November
You gotta
20th.
work on your humor bone there.
Yeah. For the work session of November 23rd and joint work session and regular meeting of December 7th, Councilmember Heyer.
Yes, Chair, I reviewed those minutes and they are accurate to the best of my recollection.
Joint work session and regular meeting of December 21st, 2021, Councilmember White.
Yes, I've reviewed those, and they are accurate to my recollection. Yeah, they're accurate.
Thank you for reading those on your birthday.
Thanks.
For the work session and regular meeting of January 4th, 2022, Councilmember Ritchie.
I finally have an opportunity to review minutes after 6 months, which is pretty cool. I reviewed them. They look accurate to the best of my recollection.
I think we've got his first minute.
My first minutes, thank you.
This is
yes.
historic.
Historic.
Nice job, new guy. Good job.
You're not a new guy anymore.
Work session and regular meeting of February 1st, 2022, Councilmember Blair.
Yes, thank you. I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate, and I would make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Blair, second by Councilmember Lopez. This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thanks for reading all those, you guys. Next item on our agenda is common consent. We have a number of items considered to set public hearings, as well as, let's see.
They're all setting public hearing.
Oh, as well as
The first one.
adopting a resolution that sets an enterprise fund transfer.
Chair, I make a motion that we adopt the common consent items as they are listed in the agenda, which most are setting public hearings for June 21st.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Blair. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lopez,
Aye.
Chair Nadolski.
Aye. That passes. Okay, next item on our agenda is a public hearing for the tentative fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. This will be presented by our very own Janine Eller-Smith.
Chair, my apologies. I'm going to excuse myself.
Okay.
As I need to go and finish some business with the group that was here.
I can still hear the rumble out there, so
Thank you.
thanks for all you did tonight.
I'm sorry, Vice Chair, you don't want to stay for my riveting presentation?
I really do. I really do.
He just wanted to stay for the minutes.
He'll catch it on Zoom later.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, and apologize on the behalf of the state legislature for making you sit through this budget amendment, tentative budget. So as we've talked, we've had several work sessions on the budget and discussions. We've heard from all you've heard from all the directors, and as you know, the main focus of this budget for 2022-23 is the employees. There's proposal for employee cost of living increases for fire, the general employees, and for police. There are 26 new positions. There's also proposal for expenditures of the American Rescue Plan Act funds and Marshall White CIP project, among others. Because this is all about employees, I thought I would just focus on this. There are 19 new positions in the general fund, and I would point out that there's 6 new positions in police in the general fund, and then another 2 in the grants fund, and then there's 4 more firefighter positions in general fund and 2 in the medical fund. So of those, so there's a total of 26 new positions. They have eliminated 4, although 3 of those 4 are part of the 26 new positions. So there's 23 reclassifications and 2 title changes. So more than half of those 26 new positions are for public safety. So I think that's really important to know. This is just a review of the wage and benefit costs as compared to the 22 adopted and the FY23 proposed. There's a big difference, but of course the 22 adopted wouldn't have included the mid-year increases that occurred for police and for general employees, the 2% that just happened. So, but I wanted to point out that in the general fund, 72% of the expenditures goes for salary and benefits. So the employees really do take up a lot of those funds. There has been a proposal for a tax increase. We had hoped to get the certified tax rate today, but Lisa informed us in the work session that it hasn't been posted yet. So there will be some additional discussions about the proposed tax increase. We'll come up with some percentages, and there's a lot of, next week we will be talking about a communications plan and how you would like to do some outreach to the residents to inform them and help them understand why this is needed. With regard to the American Rescue Plan Act funds, the city got $28 million directly from the federal government, or sorry, $25 million from the federal government and some additional from the state. And they're proposing to use it for the Canyon water line. It's a 90-year water line that's definitely needs to be replaced. Some of those funds will go to the Marshall White Center, some public safety, and Flip the Strip program, which we'll talk about, and some general government operations. They're also going to propose using some of that money to grant to nonprofits, and they are working, the administration is working on the guidelines for those grants. We always like to talk a little bit about the 5-year strategic plan. The council adopted this in 2019, and so we've really tried to focus when we review the budget to make sure that we're meeting the directives that came out of that project. Council budget goals, which come from the strategic initiatives in the 5-year plan, focus on economic development, community and safety, recreation, and city image and reputation. And the council also wanted to focus on fiscal sustainability and transparency. So without going into a lot of detail, the budget does meets all of your strategic initiatives. And these are just a few. In economic development, there's $1 million that go towards the quality neighborhood funding, police and fire salary increases, funds for a new fire training tower, and then, of course, Marshall White facility and recreation improvements. And there are $14 million in capital projects that can go towards that city image and reputation. So we have lots of sidewalk projects. These are ongoing expenditures, street construction, bike master plan, trails. These are things that the city is working on perpetually to try and keep up the services and the things that we offer to the citizens. And of course, a big importance is focus on a new Marshall White facility that the administration is working on. And then some public realm improvements which will go along the BRT line and also in the junction. So there's a total of $14 million in the capital improvement plan projects, 34 projects that are funded in this year. So here is the year-over-year general fund revenue comparisons. You can see that, as we've discussed, sales tax has been very positive, and so we do have an increase from sales tax. The increase in the property tax does include that proposed $2.8 million from a truth in taxation. And so here's the overall year-to-year budget comparisons. So overall, the FY23 has more than $35 million over the 22 adopted, but remember that that includes that $28 million from the ARPA funds. So when we look at the, this is a proposed Schedule A. Schedule A is an opportunity to make some tweaks to the mayor's proposed budget, and they're minor. There's a reduction of $20,000 in the general fund. There's additional money to cover sewer district charges and increases. And then there was some moving around of money in the refuse department that had a zero impact. And there's no other changes in the other funds. So for the total city budget, Ogden City Corporation, it's only a change of $244,000. So here's that number that shows the RDA and MBA year to year. So this is the corporation with Schedule A. There will be a Schedule 1 that you will adopt with the final budget. And so the changes that the council discussed tonight and any others that come up in the next few weeks can be added to that Schedule A1 and make final changes to the 2022-2023 final budget. Here is sort of a timeline of the budget process. We're on June 7th here to adopt the tentative budget. Next week, you'll consider the RDA and the MBA budgets separately. And then there'll be some public outreach, whether that's a town hall, we've done a Facebook Live. There's some other things that we can consider, and we'll be discussing that and coming up with a more clear communications plan as that moves on. Normally, you might adopt the budget on June 21st. It has to be adopted by the June 30th. But because you're considering a tax increase, which you've had the discussions about, that will not be adopted until August 2nd. So that's a brief presentation, and I don't know if you have any other questions.
Questions for Janine?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, discussion from the council before we take public hearing or public comment? Okay, this is a public hearing. This is your opportunity to address the council on the tentative fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. If you care to address the council, please state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Guess we should have left this with you.
Yeah.
This doesn't count, does it? Getting up here?
Nope.
Nope.
The slow walk doesn't count.
Just not used to that sitting.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen. John Thompson, 1506 24th Street. I sent a letter a couple of weeks ago, or just over a week ago, about the Union Station and specifically the John M. Browning Firearms Museum. I think this is a lucky night for me from the first, and I don't want to take any joy away from what just happened, but they were recognized for providing an invaluable contribution to Ogden City. Outside on the rack were 12 economic benefits of historic preservation. Said that, now I'll try to read my notes. I wish to highlight, re-emphasize, and reinforce my letter of a week or so ago requesting an increase to museum funds for displaced exhibits. I've worked there been given the privilege to work there for 4 years now. I knew some of the Brownings, Val and Bruce, didn't really know who they were, being 12 years old at the time, and have come to admire their contributions to Ogden, the state, the nation, and the world. One of the museum curator's functions is to fulfill the mission of museum and increase local, statewide, national, and international awareness and prominence. My observations indicate, with removal of artifacts, displays, exhibits, and other information, that we are moving in the wrong direction. If more money has been approved, I thank you. If not, I ask again that the first time there is an opportunity that comes up for you to reconsider this request, I wish you would do so. It has been an honor and a privilege to represent Ogden and this council and the administration to guests. Just a couple of weeks ago, a gentleman came in, a Belgian army officer, and he noticed the medal behind my back and pulled out his phone and showed me the picture of that medal that was just presented to him by the King of Belgium. It was the exact same of the ones that were presented to Val and John Moses. Also, a couple of weeks further back, there was a convention of an Army division in Salt Lake. They came up here and a grandfather and a son talked about him carrying weapons across Europe that were designed in this city, in fact, just a half a block over. So this is a tremendous resource of our history, and I don't want to see it wasted, and I wish you had given that opportunity to get money, because when I asked about what's the problem is, generally it's a lack of funds. So I thank you, and a late happy birthday, Marcia, if I may. Thank you,
John.
Mr. Chair.
Hello.
Ready?
Yep, state your
Okay.
name and
Timothy Renee Falker, I live 1061 East, 4975 South, resident of Ogden. I'm also a hangar owner at the airport. I want to put a personal touch to what I think is horrible decisions that this city council has made, either through bad information or just bad decision-making process. In 2014, I purchased a hangar at the airport. Wasn't my first, it was my third. I'd been through the process for the 10 years previous. I've been through every airport manager since Ed Rich, who is the representative of this city. And we discussed the leases, what it was, thing. And in 2014, I bought what was going to be my second hangar to start a business. When I retire from my second time, right? And I had the plans, I had it all done. And about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, discussions with the current airport manager made me cancel all that. Because he started into this, we're going to take the hangar when your lease is done. You will not be able to keep it. I didn't think it was going to happen. I couldn't believe that the city would make that radical of a decision that affects so many people and just let it happen. But yet, last year, y'all passed Title 8 changes, and it did exactly that. I had taken retirement funds to buy the hangar that I thought I could get back. Not all of it. I mean, the building's going to age, but at least some of it. Right now, I'm going to get 0. And at the end of my lease, I have 2 choices. Let y'all take the hangar and start renting it to somebody else, or I'll just take it down and move it off the airport. That'll be my 2 choices. That's poor decision-making, and it affects individuals in the city. It isn't some big conglomerate. The playboys out at the airport, and we're just running around. In order for me to be able to afford an airplane, I built it in my garage. Okay? Kicked my car out, built an airplane. That's how I afford an airplane. The hangar, I took my retirement funds and put it into the hangar, planning on getting it back. Not now. I won't get that money back, not on that hangar at least. Because of its age, I won't survive the end of the lease. Because the ordinance that y'all passed makes it absolute, unless I go beg the mayor somehow and get some dispensation, absolute, I can't get another lease. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm not going to try to compete with that trumpet player.
Can we start with your name?
Especially swimming underwater.
Thanks. Can you state your name for the record for me?
I am Ed McKinney. I live in Eden. I'm a part-time contract pilot at Ogden Airport. And I'm a flight instructor, airline pilot, having flown cargo for UPS, my favorite job because I had no complaints from the boxes. I've flown into and gotten to know hundreds of airports around the United States and the world. And I have a deep appreciation for how important the airports are, not just for the community, but the airlines, pilot training, medical support, and response to significant emergencies, including devastating forest fires. Unfortunately, Ogden has not been a successful steward or mentor of any of the service that I just mentioned. So I'd like to give you a few questions for your consideration. First of all, I want to thank the council that has responded to my questions and comments. As you know, both airlines are either have or are pulling out of Ogden now, which is a very disheartening situation. Does anyone in the city council find it unconscionable that the airport manager was quoted in the Standard Examiner as seeing the benefit of losing the airlines, and he's saying that now I can more quickly expand the terminal now that the customers are out of the way? It's like the maitre d' on the Titanic saying we can expand the dining area now that everybody's in the lifeboat. Experts in the aviation industry believe between Ogden's Title 8 language, the pilot shortage, the high cost of airline operations, competition from Provo and Salt Lake International, and the safety issues at Ogden Airport related to its proximity to the mountains, unless the airport is relocated, that is, it's highly unlikely that Ogden will see sustainable airline service. There are very technical and very safety-oriented reasons beyond the business portion. And now the airport manager is asking you for $5 million to expand the TSA holding area and more headcount despite no airlines. Without the airlines, there isn't a TSA. I don't understand why he would make that request. Approving the airport budget is a gross misappropriation of taxpayers' funds. The airport manager stated he is all about making the airport profitable. A question for the city council: have you asked Mr. Garrett to share his numbers with you? It is time for the city to stop approving budgets for departments that tell you to expect 17 flights a day, as Mr. Christofelis did. Since 2012, you continue to approve airport spending and fees charged to the stakeholders without any accountability. What business would ever operate without measuring these critical reporting? The businesses that could have been critical to Ogden's success have been driven away by Mr. Williams and Mr. Garrett and Title VIII. The U.S. Forest Service is an example. I'd like to ask for your consideration to a roundtable and an audit of the numbers for Ogden Airport. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else care to address the council on this item, the tentative budget for fiscal year 2022-2023? If you have airport comments, please make sure they're relevant to the budget at hand.
My name is Dan Blumel, and I live at 1968 Grant Avenue. I do have a question for the City Council, and that is, in the last 2 years, the value of properties in the Ogden area have increased dramatically, and therefore property taxes will also go up. So I really don't understand why the need for a tax increase when you're already going to get substantially higher revenues due to the fact that the values of the properties have gone up dramatically. My house in Ogden has gone up 100% in 5 years. In the last 2 years, it's gone up, I would guess, 25 to 30%. The biggest increase has occurred in the last 2 years. So again, I don't understand when that increase in revenue is going to occur, why would you need to raise taxes at this time, especially understanding the economy that exists in this country currently with a recession is being anticipated and people are having a hard time paying their bills. Why would you want to do that now? Now would be the time to tighten your belt and be more cautious about how you spend the money, including the $5 million being considered at the airport. The other thing I wanted to mention is that who will fund the replacement hangars at the airport if in fact they're torn down? Where is that funding going to come from? Has that already been established? Is that guaranteed? Or are you going to tear down the hangars and hope that you'll have the money to build new hangars and then generate the revenue you intend to generate, where the current hangars are already generating revenue? And very few of those hangars are actually dilapidated, as has been stated in things I've read recently from presentations given to the City Council that they are dilapidated. There are a few, but very few, not the 50 or 20 or 80 or whatever the number they're talking about. And that should cover it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody online? Looks like we got one online. Brandon, you good? Okay, let's go to Angel Castillo. Angel, state your name for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Angel Castillo, Ogden resident. Thank you so much for doing the honorings that you did earlier in the meeting. It's really important that we recognize traditionally marginalized populations and lift them up as belonging. The pandemic was really rough. A lot of people had a hard time making rent. The federal government gave us rent relief, and that was great. And I worked with Christina Oliver, who's the Director of Housing and Commerce Development at Department of Workforce Services. And they got $180 million from the federal government. And since 2020, they've only dispersed $25 million of that. Myself and Dr. Jenny Nagy helped over 160 people apply for those. It's really complicated, and it's hard to get people to fill out those applications. And right now, the DWS has $155 million left in rent relief, which is why I have a problem with page 95 under the home ARP grant that was proposed by Ward Ogden to use almost $941,000 for rent relief. The state has $155 million available. There are plenty of places to do that. Why is this money going to rent relief when we could be using it to help other homeowners with grants for down payments, home improvements, rip the strip? It makes no sense when the coffers have $155 million at the state. This is, again, just doing something, expecting a different result. And so I'd like you to pay attention to that while you're going. And with regards to the comments made during the work session, Councilmember Heyer brought up being frugal is important. And so I too, like some of you, are opposed to raising the mayor's salary. It doesn't make any sense when you paid for a benchmark study and that salary is already above benchmark. And speaking of frugality, I think $400 for a vehicle allotment is ridiculous when we have a fleet that can be used. We spent $11.9 million on our fleet operating budget. We have vehicles that we own. We should be using those if you're doing city business. Frugal. We're not being frugal and we're not thinking things through. So I'd like you to keep that at the back of your mind when you go into reviewing the budget. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel. Seeing no other hands raised. Anyone else in the chambers? Yeah, okay.
Could we back up for just a minute on the
Come on up.
hangar thing?
If it's budget related, we've got public comments still.
It sort of is, yes.
Okay.
Go
ahead and state your name and
Jim Peterson, 1691 Rutherford Ridge Road, Ogden, Utah.
Thank you.
84403. Got it?
Got it.
Yeah. Speaking of cash flows and whatnot, I too was an airline pilot and enhanced my cash flow through working more, not less. One of the great opportunities that Ogden has is knowing the terminal instrument procedures and how those are certified for each airport. Ed touched on this, that Ogden will never be a great airport for airline operations. Now, it does have the opportunity to be one of the greatest general aviation airports out there. Now, I grew up in the cattle business. Price of beef went down. We did not sell the herd. We tried to increase production to make more money and more revenue. Now, you could do the same thing by having your airport manager, which knows absolutely nothing about managing, to take the west side of the airport out there, develop hangars. There are people out there that are begging for hangars and a safe place to come and put their money, whether you guys wanted to fund it or whether you wanted to do the private leases like we have now. But you could very much enhance your cash flow, and it would help those. Now, my wife is one of them that you're going to try and steal the hangar from in 10 years. And we're a little bit upset at you guys for those votes that you've done with this Title VIII propaganda. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? I hadn't started the clock on yet, so thanks for staying in bounds there.
Chair, seeing that there's online and chamber.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Valera to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Okay. Should we start with questions that we got from the public? John, we'll start with John's. He was first. I think it was my lucky day too, because I had just brought up your letter in the meeting right before you showed up. It was sort of happenstance. So, but we had a good discussion about it. Mr. Johnson, you want to share what we talked about?
Yeah, it's a great suggestion and it's something that's long over needed, and we are going to put some funding. It won't happen all at once, but it'll happen in a gradual process, and we'll start working on that. Those displays need to be upgraded to match what's being displayed. The rent relief, I don't know a lot about other than it didn't come through the city. It goes through other agencies, so we haven't had a lot to do with that. I can answer the tax question too if you'd like me to.
Sure, while you're on a roll.
When property values go up, they lower our rate, so we don't get any of that money. So all of these extra values that the assessor assesses when your and my property go up 100%, the tax rate that is calculated goes down, and we get the same amount of money unless we do a tax increase. And sometimes it's just keeping the tax rate level, which the way the state makes us advertise it, it seems like an increase to you, but it wouldn't be an increase to you if we keep it level unless your property value goes up. And then, of course, then it is a little bit of an increase. But for us to get any extra money out of property tax, we have to go in and actually raise the rate. The rate will lower itself automatically if values increase. I don't know if that makes sense. It's complicated, but.
Yeah, did that make sense? Hope so. It's all designed to make sure that we get the exact same amount every year. So, yeah, good explanation. Thank you, Mark. Right. Okay, John, when we were talking about the displays, we still have time before our final budget's passed, but hopefully we want to give Mark a chance to look into it a little bit more and see what they can find out and see what they can do with what they've got. But we still have an opportunity. If they needed more funds, they could ask us.
And I would add, we have toured it, we've seen it, we understand what the issues are, and we've been talking about this for a long time. And we get how unique that display and all of the things that are happening at Union Station is. So we're very, very involved and very focused on making sure that that's going to be with us for a long time. It's a huge part of our history.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate that. Okay, comments from the council?
On the budget?
Yeah.
Chair, I would make a motion then that concerning proposed ordinance 2022-22, that we adopt that ordinance for review.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Heyer to adopt proposed ordinance 2022-22, second by Councilmember White. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Chair Nadolski.
Aye, that passes. Okay, so that is the tentative budget. We still have the truth and taxation process to go through. But that truth and taxation process extends beyond the end of the fiscal year. So before we go down that path, we've got to have a budget in place while we go into the new fiscal year. So that's what we just passed. We still have another public hearing to go through the final budget as well, and we have opportunities to make adjustments at that point. So the comments you guys have made tonight are in consideration for future decisions as well. Next item on our agenda is public comments. So this is your opportunity to address the council on any item. If you care to address the council again, please state your name again and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Getting the crack at us?
Not really. A little bit different twist on it. And
okay.
I'm sorry I got up at the wrong time. I think this is probably when I should have gotten up.
Probably. It's okay.
Timothy Renee Falker, 1061 East, 4975 South in Ogden. Over the time that I've been at the airport and working with airport managers, I've had many discussions. After my comments to the council a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had an extensive conversation with the airport manager, the current airport manager. And I proposed to him some things I think are very practical solutions to the problem. One is we have contracts that are signed between the city and the lessees, right? And we should make sure that those contracts are legal and right. And in my view, in order for a contract to be legal and right, you have to have a meeting of the minds. And when you don't have a meeting of minds and you look back at the language in the lease that's causing the problem, if the language is causing the problem, it is the lease writer, the person who wrote the lease, it's their responsibility to fix it and their liability. The city writes the leases and will not allow us to change them. So when you go through the process, it's take it or leave it. Here's the lease from the city, take it or leave it. My recommendation back at that time was, okay, you want to go do this, you want to come take the hangars, in other words, stop leasing the land, negotiate with the current leaseholders and come up with an agreement. Okay? Have a meeting of the minds, come up with a new lease, and resolve the issue. Yes, it's work, but do it now. And everybody coming on new lives with whatever you got going at that time, Title VIII, and they all come in knowing what they got. Not like me, where I thought I got one thing and I have something else. And I recommend that you look at that. Go back and look at what you can do to solve the problem. Not just say, the only council member that talked to me last time was Angela. She's not here. But don't give the answer. It's better for all the other citizens in Ogden that you just sacrifice your $80,000 for that hangar. That you just give that up, because it's better for the cities, all the citizens in the city. Not a good answer. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Ed McKinney in Utah still. This past month has been kind of tough at the airport. Winnie Marcel is a hangar owner and retired school counselor, owned 2 hangars. Ogden City took her to court on one of the hangars, and she wound up turning over the keys to that hangar. Was told that the hangar was too old, that it needed a roof, needed inspections, and this was obviously part of the investment that she was hoping that she could then sell when she was in retirement. This past couple of weeks ago, Ogden City is now leasing or renting out that hangar to a plane owner with no improvements or anything to that hangar, just renting it out. And needless to say, Wendy is very distraught. Doesn't matter whether it's rented out for 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, 10 years. But the hangar that she was told that was not usable, and the city was going to take ownership of it. And so that's what's going on at our airport, and a very good example of just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you.
Sherry Peterson, 1691 Rutherford Ridge Road. My hangar's one of the newer ones. We've been in aviation, my husband has been in aviation for 50 plus years. We've had hangars in Bountiful. We thought, should we put a hangar in Afton or Ogden? We chose Ogden, and unfortunately, that wasn't the best decision. So my expensive hangar, you're going to come and take. And I either have to tear it down, but what you're going to do is you're going to take my hangar, and I have an option. I either rent my hangar back from you. I have to pay you to use my hangar. And I go, is this America? I mean, I was just, they're doing what? My only thought is, if you're taking valuable information to make these decisions about, make sure the input that you're getting is from people that are involved in aviation, that they understand airplanes and airports. Just regret building here. If I'm just kind of without words. It's an expensive hangar. Thank you.
Just got one more thing to say. Jim Peterson, 1691 Rutherford Ridge Road. And Ed touched on this also, the $5 million expansion of the holding pens at the airport. When we don't even have an airline that will potentially right now even fill those. So my question to all of you is, are we now in the movie, just build it and they will come? And the answer is, if you had the right terminal information and approach benefits that could be there for the airlines, they would come, but they will not come with what is out there now. No airline out there allows their aircraft to do what they call circling approaches. That is prohibited in the industry now. It's too dangerous to do it, and that's why they don't do it. So Ogden is a one-way in, one-way out airport. And I can't believe that you would consider $5 million for something that's not even viable right now. Now, if you had contracts with people coming in and they were long-term contracts, I can understand doing that. But not this. We're glad that the airlines have left so that we can build. I've seen many different cities that have been able to restore and rebuild with their terminals. In Phoenix is one of them I watched personally, and they were able to do that and build that big new terminal they've got down there without having a disruption of any services at all to the passengers. But I just can't believe that you would even consider that you would gamble the taxpayers' money on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else in person? Okay, we'll go online to Angel Castillo. Oh, sorry. Angel, we'll get to you in a second. Kim? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, what a meeting. Wow, what a night. That was so special. I mean, I literally was just bawling at the goodness of that, which is not why I'm getting up here, even though it was. So I just wanted, it's been such a great experience to go through this whole budget process at the work sessions, especially, and just, I just want to give a shout out to all of those directors and the amount of work that they do. I mean, Jay and Justin's presentation last night is astounding. All of them are. And wow, a lot of work gets done in this city, and it makes you very proud to live here and want to help solve all of the problems and everything. So thank you for what you do. And also a special one to Lisa Stout. I mean, I'm the finance guru too, so I know what's behind that when the team that she leads, and I get totally geeked out on that. So what an asset she is to this city and to the administration team. And then Janine's team, like your presentations, like they're all so good and so clear, and that, the lay city person can understand it. So thank you for your work. This is, that's a big thing to adopt that budget or the whatever. I got Janine's timeline down because it's very clear and very awesome.
Kim, tell us your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kim Bouchard. Well, I'm temporary. You want my? I'm in a rental, 2680 Foothill Drive, but it's not really a house right now.
Thanks, Kim. Okay. Angel, thank you for your patience. Angel Castillo, you know the routine.
Thank you. Angel Castillo, Ogden resident. I wanted to talk a little bit about Memorial Day and an experience that I had at Memorial Day. The Weber County Heritage Foundation had an event where we could put flags on veterans' graves at Ogden City Cemetery. And it was cold and it was raining, and there were still almost 100 people there, little kids, their parents, but the cool thing was there were a ton of veterans in uniform from the Fraternal Order of Eagles Lodge on Wall across from Home Depot. And while we were going up and down the aisles with the flags, planting them, I struck up a conversation, and we were going to do vector tracing to make sure we got them all. So I was walking with another veteran who is, I think, a vice president in that agency, and we were chit-chatting, and we were talking about what he did. And then they told me that they had their Veterans Parade in North Ogden. And I said, wait a minute, North Ogden? Wait, you're in Ogden, right? Yeah, yes, ma'am, we are. I'm like, well, why are you having your parade in North Ogden? And then he told me because we are a small nonprofit with not a huge budget funded entirely by memberships, and we can't afford the permit. If we were to do a Veterans Day parade honoring those that serve us, we can't afford the permit and the street closures and all of the things necessary. And they go to North Ogden, and North Ogden takes care of it. And North Ogden takes care of it because of Major Brent Taylor and his passing, and making sure that military is respected and revered and honored for those who make ultimate sacrifices for us, and for those and their families that go through such struggle serving us and protecting us. And so I was really embarrassed and ashamed that the city that this lodge is in, that puts hundreds of flags on veterans' graves and does good community work, can't get a permit waived. And I'd like you to look into that as a council and find out what can be done, because I just think that's entirely disrespectful for people who have served our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Heath Sato. I think you know the routine as well. Go ahead, Heath.
Thanks. Heath Sato, Ogden resident. Awesome performance in the chambers tonight. I wish I could have been there to see it in person. Thank you for that, and thank you for the work you put into making this happen, Councilmember Lopez. I'm sorry to keep bringing up the Brown Ice Cream Building development, and I tried to settle this weeks ago via emails to Council Members Bart Blair and Marcia White. I never did receive a response from Councilmember Blair. Maybe it went into a spam folder, I don't know. And unfortunately, Councilmember White just gave me a sort of boilerplate answer that she appreciates my point of view, but she supports Mr. Cooper's promotion without actually answering my question. And this question isn't even about Mr. Cooper at this point, or the developer, or the broker that provided the false information about the building. This is about a failure of proper oversight and transparency. It's about our local government clinging to secrecy. The public deserves to know why the only developer that was offered the Brown Ice Cream Building project was a personal friend of Mayor Caldwell's, as well as one of the biggest donors to his campaign. The public deserves to know why the RDA was fed false information by Mr. Cooper and misled into believing there was only one person even interested in the building, which was false, and to sell it to his friend of the mayor for a fraction of its value due to other information Mr. Cooper presented to them. In the newspaper article in the Standard about Mr. Cooper's promotion, Mayor Mike Caldwell said that the city has been open and transparent on all of its development projects. When asked about my concerns, he went on to say, quote, "I would say I completely disagree with Heath on that, and I don't think he has all the information." And that's been my issue all along. The city has not been open and transparent. That mayor is absolutely correct that the public does not have all the information. That is the problem. I'm asking yet again for the transparency the mayor frequently talks about but will not provide. Given you, all but one of you agreed to a golden parachute clause in Mr. Cooper's promotion, they'll give him at least $200,000 paid to him if he's fired for virtually any reason. And I want to remind everyone, when he gets fired, that money will come out of our taxpayer dollars, money that will only benefit one person who doesn't even live in Ogden. So since all but one of you voted in favor of that contract agreement, that to my knowledge no other city employee has, I feel the city needs to come clean about what exactly happened with the Brown Ice Cream Building deal. You owe the public that. Mayor Caldwell isn't running for another term, so we can't punish this behavior at the polls. So again, I'm asking for transparency. What was the reason given to you all that made that promotion acceptable given the deal that Mr. Cooper made for a friend of the mayor by misleading the RDA? If the answer is no response, no comment, will one of you please at least have the courage to simply say it's going to remain a secret, and on this issue, the city will not provide any transparency. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, move on to comments from the mayor.
Sure, I have a couple of comments. to the airport people, a lot's come up about the $5 million that's going to go out there. Those are federal dollars. That's not coming out of our budget. That comes from the.
Okay, thank you. Let's let the mayor speak, just like we let you speak.
We were just talking about the budget, and that's how an airport functions, is with federal dollars and everything else. So I just wanted to clarify that. I've written down all of your questions. We'll talk to our attorneys about the leases, and we've been talking about it for years, and so I appreciate you coming and expressing yourselves, and that's something that we'll look into and get back on. So we do want to see the airport be functional. We want to see it to be a revenue neutral type of an operation instead of putting a bunch of money into that in terms of subsidies every year, and that's something we're going to have some wins and some fails at. You know, both of the airlines that came in when aviation fuel hit such enormous dollars, they could not do discount aviation in the way that they had hoped when they came in, and we're optimistic that they'll come back, and we hope that they'll come back. So we're committed to listening to you all. My father-in-law owns a hangar out there, and I can promise you that on Sunday dinners when we go over to my in-laws' house, I get some of the same questions. And so we get those conversations in a lot of different areas, and we want to be fair and have it be functional, but we also want it to be as close as we can get to be revenue neutral for the taxpayers of Ogden City. So, and that comes in a lot of different areas, whether we get federal money, whether we pay for that out of our general fund, whether we do other things. That's something we're continuing to examine and we're committed to do. I do want to say that there were a couple things that came up that were a little frustrating for me about the Memorial Day. We used to have the Memorial Day parade here for a long time, and we put a ton of money and energy and resources into that. We're extremely proud of Memorial Day and our veterans. Part of what they wanted to do is to move that around so it wasn't just in one place all the time. Everybody got to celebrate that. It's been in Layton City, it's been in North Ogden City, it's been a lot of other places. So to say that we're not celebrating Memorial Day is entirely unfair, because that's a huge holiday for us, and I've got, my whole family is an Air Force family, and that is a big deal. I've been an honorary commander at Hill, and we are a military community. We absolutely support that. So to say that we don't support veterans on Memorial Day, I think is extremely unfair. I do want to add my voice to the chorus to thank Luis. The end of the meeting is not nearly as fun as the front of the meeting. That was an amazing thing. That's what I think defines Ogden, is people coming together, celebrating each other, really having some of that positivity, and really enjoying the diversity that we have up here. I want to thank him. He's not here right now. He's out doing the work to make sure that happens, but I'm very proud of the work that he's done, and the fact that we could support that and bring that type of art and energy and enjoyment into the community. So I want to publicly thank him for that. And there has been a lot of information about the Brown building and everything else. In my opinion, we have pushed everything that we had out. Whether that's the answer people want to hear or not is a whole different story, but I feel like we have been transparent about that and open, and the people that have been involved in that, I think that has been open. I guess we can agree to disagree on some of those terms, and I'm not sure exactly what is being looked for there, but I feel like that has been very fair. And to accuse me of making a sweetheart deal, I didn't sign that. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with that project downtown, and so I find that to be unfair. And I'll just stand up for my integrity on that, because that did not come to me. That was something, and a lot of those deals are done way beyond my purview. And so I will stand up for my integrity on that and say I think that's been fair. I think it was open. I know the players that were involved in that, and you all get to be involved in that. As I said during the budget hearing too, it's not me. I don't get to make those decisions. It goes to legal, it goes through the department, it goes through our finance committee, it goes through a whole bunch of other groups. So to say that I got to just put my stamp of approval on anything out there is not fair, and it is that's just not the way the process works. And I really believe in the integrity of our department directors and the others that put those together, and we'll stand with that.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Comments from council members?
Yeah. I appreciate Luis and what he was able to do in getting this group to come. I'm excited to see that tomorrow. I think for our community, it's good to see those things coming together, and it's a neat thing to have. The budget review process has been interesting for me. I still feel like I'm learning a ton here, and I appreciate Janine pointing out that when we look at the increase in the budget, 72% is related to the employees and salaries and benefits, which I think is important. You know, we have great people here in Ogden, and we need to support them, and you know, dealing with some of the challenges with people leaving and not being competitive in the market. This is important. So the remaining 28%, you know, there's going to be increases in different things as well, and again, still trying to figure out and learn how all that works. So I appreciate the help from the other council members as I'm learning my way there. With some of the airport stuff, it is concerning to hear some of the things that we're hearing. You know, I know that there are things that can be done that are legal, but they may not be ethical. And so I'd hopefully that we're looking into everything. This Wendy Marshall situation's a little concerning. I'd like to, hopefully we can find out more about that if we're taking a hangar lease and releasing it. That's concerning. So I'm sure there's more information there that we can gather. So other than that, again, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here, and hopefully we can represent the people and what's going on.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just have a quick comment. I think it was Justin that said, if there isn't a seat at the table, pull up a folding chair. And I really appreciate the ability for people to come in and talk to us and voice their concerns, and we listen to their concerns. And so I do appreciate that, and people being here and actually pulling up their folding chair and coming in and talking to us. So I thought that was a really great quote. So.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember White to adjourn. This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.